Welcome to the 2021 High School Course of Study Information Night. What an exciting time for our 8th grade students. Tonight we have building administrators, curriculum office supervisors, and guidance counselors on the call to answer any questions that you may have. Remember, this is a home and school partnership. We will work together to ensure that your child is successful. We are here to assist you and your child in making the best choices so they have a fulfilling academic and social experience in high school. The format for tonight will include brief introductions, student and parent voice videos, and approximately 45 minutes for question and answer. We will start off with a few slides that answer some of the most common questions that we have received in the past. Kicking off our session this evening, we have a student voice video from Cherry Hill High School West, presented by Raphael Litwin and his mother.
Hi, I'm Raphael Litwin, Cherry Hill High School West, class of 2021.
And I'm Jody Goldberg Litwin, Cherry Hill West, class of 1987. And we're here tonight to tell you a little bit about West, our experience, and being a student, being a parent, and what it's a little bit about. You want to start, Raph?
Yeah, for sure. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about the academics at West. There are many different levels that are offered, from all the way honors, advanced, and to regular level classes. And every single teacher at West does an amazing job giving every single student an amazing learning experience, being taught to their level, and making them feel comfortable and be as successful as possible in class.
And from a parent perspective, I can totally agree with you. I have triplets, and they all have very different learning styles, and the two triplets that attend West are definitely different, and everybody's needs are met, and we've been really thrilled with the academics. I was just going to say, not to mention, the extracurriculars are awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's tons of extracurriculars as well as electives. Some electives include arts, performing arts, music, theater, business, computer electives, science electives, history, English electives. There's so many different options, as well as clubs. There's similar clubs for music, art, business, stuff like that.
I would say it's definitely something for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There are culture clubs, language clubs, so many different opportunities. And another really important thing that I wanted to mention at West is this thing that we call the West Way, which is basically another name that we call for our community, and for a community at West. And every single person at West, whether it be teachers, other staff, and students, everyone looks out for each other and looks out for the best for everybody, make sure everyone can succeed, and everyone makes it a safe, welcoming environment so everyone can do the best that they can.
Definitely, and I can say that from a parent's perspective. I know that when we've had struggles, and everybody has struggles in their life, we have been really supported by the teachers, the staff, and the administration. I've always felt that I could pick up the phone and give somebody a call, and that my needs were met. So it's been a great experience as a student as well as a parent, and to be part of West. And I'm really proud that my guys went there.
There's one more thing I'd like to add. The athletics at Cherry Hill West are amazing. From the fall, winter, and spring sports, there's so many of them, and I played volleyball, and it's been amazing being a part
Softball.
of the team. Yeah, and there's also there's a lot of different opportunities athletically, and being part of a team at West, it's just a really strong community. It's a great experience, and I highly encourage everyone to get involved.
And take advantage. I know it can be overwhelming as incoming freshmen. Just definitely take advantage before school starts. Hopefully everything with COVID will be calmed down, but to take the tours and get to know the school. It may seem large and overwhelming, but you get it pretty quickly. You'll be able to find your way around.
All right. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you really consider attending West.
I want to first start off by apologizing for our technical difficulties. I do want to thank Ralph and his mother, Ms. Litwin, for sharing that wonderful presentation. They did an excellent job really capturing the West Way. So all components of the presentation this evening, including the video that you just watched, will be available on our district website. Ms. Katsikis, could you, thank you. So for our information night tonight, again, as I just mentioned, our presentation will be available on the district website. You will be able to review the course selection booklet as well on our district website. All information discussed tonight will be posted immediately. The course of study booklet will be posted in late January. Here you will see the required courses that all students must take in order to be eligible for a high school diploma. Your child's counselor will work with them throughout their high school career to fulfill and ensure that all of their courses and credit requirements have been fulfilled. There is a document included in the course of study booklet which outlines which specific courses fulfill each subject area. On the previous slide, African American Studies was listed as a required course to receive a high school diploma for Cherry Hill Public Schools. This conversation was indicated as tentative, as this is an ongoing conversation with the Board of Education. We are continuing that conversation, and we do anticipate Board of Education approval at our February 23rd Board of Education meeting. If this requirement changes, all community members and parents and students will be notified. We have been working with professors from the University of Pennsylvania, Stockton University, and Monmouth University to prepare our curricular materials and our resources for the course. A typical freshman course load is approximately 35 or 40 credits. The core courses that your child will need to take are English, math, science, social studies, and world language. Additional courses that they will also participate in include physical education and health, electives, and lunch. At our high schools, we do have courses that are leveled. We have advanced placement, honors, accelerated, and regular for math and English only. Your child should speak with their counselor and with their teachers to determine what would be the most appropriate level for them. You as the parent should also engage in conversation with your child to see what would be the most appropriate level for their academic experience. Please know that you can switch between levels across content areas. One of the most important decisions during the course selection process is the high school your child will attend. Both Cherry Hill High School West and Cherry Hill High School East offer an excellent high school experience academically and socially, but it must be the right fit for your child. You will have the opportunity to select which high school your child will attend. Please make note that once the decision is made, your child will be assigned to that school for their entire academic career. This decision should include significant conversation regarding everything from the academic programs, the social networks, the athletics, the music programs, and everything that is of interest to your child. The slide that you see shows you that form for high school open enrollment will be completed through the Genesis Parent Portal and will be due by February 26th. Our high school open houses. This year, both East and West will host virtual open house events for their community. Although the format will be virtual, I assure you that the experience will provide you with an inside perspective of the school and the school community. You are welcome to attend both school sessions. This is strongly encouraged if you have not made a decision regarding which school you will attend. As mentioned on the previous slide, once you decide which school to attend, you will have your entire academic career there. So what does the scheduling timeline look like? The high school counselors have already facilitated virtual meetings with all 8th grade students. Tonight, we are hosting the course of study Q&A. There will be opportunities for students throughout the remainder of the year to engage with their middle school guidance counselor. And then we will have what is included on the slide. 8th grade recommendations will be input by teachers between January 15th and February 1st. 8th grade course requests and all open enrollment forms are due by February 26th. Parents, you will have an opportunity to review the teacher recommendations as well as an opportunity to make requests in the Genesis Parent Portal from February 8th to February 26th. Information regarding this process is forthcoming and will come from your assigned middle school. High school shadow days. Both East and West have contacts, Mrs. Danielle Grafeo at Cherry Hill High School East and Ms. Carol Roscoff at Cherry Hill High School West. The finalized schedule for shadow days has not been determined. However, we do anticipate having some sort of shadow day experience, even if virtual, for our incoming freshmen. Due to our technical difficulties this evening, I am not going to show the second video for Cherry Hill High School East. However, I would again like to give a huge thank you and shout out to the Litwin family, as well as the Randall family, to Michaela Randall and to Raphael Littman. Thank you for having the courage to share a video that future students of Cherry Hill High School West and Cherry Hill High School East would be able to witness with their parents. I know that this is always a task that we ask students to do, and it's always difficult in person. I can't imagine having to record and then have this posted on the district website. So we do appreciate your thoughtfulness and the time and effort that you put into sharing your student voice and your experience from a parent perspective, as well as from a student perspective. So important information for our high school guidance departments. Here are the telephone numbers, e-boards, websites, and Twitter handles for each of the high schools. It is a great place to go to for resources and questions that you may have. Now we are going to jump into our Q&A portion for the night. We do have some previously submitted questions. We will alternate between submitted questions and questions from live participants this evening. To ask a question, you can click the raise hand button in the bottom bar of the meeting or dial *9 to raise your hand by phone. You will be called on by name or identified by your phone number. A prompt will show on your screen asking you if you want to unmute. If joining by phone, dial *6 to unmute your phone when prompted. You will need to do this before speaking. At the end of your question, you will be muted. So our first question for this evening, submitted by Monique Platt. The question is, in 12th grade, there is an elective titled Tomorrow's Teachers. Is there a particular path or certain electives taken during 9th through 11th grades that are preferred in order to be considered for acceptance into the program? I'm going to ask Dr. Morton to answer this question.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Mahan, and hello to everyone there. Thank you so much for joining us. So there isn't really a select path for inclusion in Tomorrow's Teachers. Tomorrow's Teachers is actually a very new program for us. I believe it's the first year we're actually running it, and it's a program that's unique in the sense that it's being run both at East and West, and right now we have a combined cohort. For the most part, it's student interest in the field of education and potentially becoming a teacher. That is, I would say, the prerequisite for one to participate in the program. I'm not sure if you wanted me to go into detail about the specific format and how it will work, but that pretty much answers the question, Dr. Mahan.
Thank you, Dr. Morton. Our second question, submitted by Bill Tavares. Mr. Tavares actually submitted 3 questions, so I'll go through 2 of them and then defer the last question. When will the 2021-2022 course of study booklet be updated and posted on the website? The course of study booklet will be posted on the website at the end of January. This presentation that you saw this evening will be posted to the website in the coming days. The second question, can a single page be added that lists elective options for students? And is there a way to indicate on the list where the description can be found? For example, it is not clear that you would know to look in the English electives for the journalism description. Please make this process more user-friendly. So there is a sheet that will be included in the course of study booklet. That document is called our True North Graduation Requirement Document. It lists all of the courses that are offered under each section, and it also corresponds to the document that you saw earlier in this presentation, indicating how many credits you need for each content area in order to receive a high school diploma. Once you see that, Mr. Tavares, if it is still not clear, you can reach out to your child's guidance counselor, principal, and/or to me. The last question is, what assurances can you give students who are considering a music, band, chorus, orchestra elective that those classes will run as normal? Solitary practice and video submissions are not a substitute for being part of a group and practicing as one. How are those classes currently being handled at the high school level? And what is the plan for September for those classes? I would ask that Dr. Perry, principal of Cherry Hill High School East, please answer this question.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Mahan. Thank you, Mr. Tobias, for the question. So my answer would be, I hope so. I certainly hope that by September we are as close to normal schooling as possible. I certainly can't give assurances 100% that will be the case, but that certainly is our hope. I agree with you that playing in isolation and videotaping is not a substitute for what we would expect during a typical school year. These not being typical times, however, our teachers are working hard and well with our students. They're putting together some amazing programs, albeit virtual. We were able to have our marching band together for this year, and they played, and they had a wonderful time together. Some of our other performances have been able to occur virtually, and we're hoping that as we move forward, that we'll get back to some semblance of normalcy as quickly as possible. We do have in place currently some state regulations that preclude us from having students play in the building at this time. But again, as we move forward through the spring and certainly into next fall, it's our hope and real desire, because we love our arts programs at both high schools. It's our real desire that we'll be able to have students back in the building, playing together, performing together, and enjoying their love and their growth of music together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Perry. I would like to jump over to a call from a panelist. I'm going to ask, is it Haiwen Chen? We will unmute you. Can you hear us? You have to unmute yourself. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, yes, you have a question for us this evening? Can you just tell us your name and what school your child goes to?
Maybe I clicked something incorrectly. I do not have a question. I'm sorry if I missed.
It's okay. All right. All right, we will go to Lauren Whopper.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
My question is, I've got 2 children in special education at 2 different middle schools, both graduating this year to go to high school. I know we're having teacher input, but I'm wondering if we're going to be able to get IEP input prior to making these decisions, because I'm lost as to what's best for each child.
That is an excellent question, and I'm going to pass that over to Mr. Wisely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Mahan.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question.
Ms. Whopper, that's an excellent question. In terms of students who require special education programming, determinations for their program and their placement will be made at the time of annual reviews. So you'll be meeting this winter and spring, as you do on an annual basis, to meet with the IEP team to discuss the needs of your child and make a determination about what is the most appropriate program.
If we have to pick by February, wouldn't I have to have a meeting way before that?
So in terms of when you're saying making a selection for courses, or are you talking about a selection
Yes.
for the high school, the particular high
Both.
school?
I have to choose 2 student high school and courses by the end of
So-
February.
So in terms of the high school programming, a majority of the programs are similar from east to west as it relates to special education programming. The only difference between the two in terms of what we offer is West does house our,
Mr. Wisely, you muted yourself.
sorry. So
Okay.
West does house our self-contained programs for our
Okay.
functional vocational students. And so that would potentially be a determination. So even if you were to select West, but your child required a program that's only offered if you were to select East and your child required a program that was at West, we would make that change at the time of the IEP meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Our next question submitted by Dina Ward. I see the notice of when we can start choosing classes for high school, but how do we actually choose the classes? Is it through Genesis? Also, is there a separate listing of all classes freshmen can choose from for electives that we can refer back to? I'm going to ask Mrs. Lisa Safici, counselor at Cherry Hill High School West, to answer this question.
Thank you. So this year, 8th grade parents and high school parents will have the opportunity to see what the teacher recommendations are for their child in the Genesis Parent Portal. So all parents through their Genesis Parent Portal starting February 8th will be able to see their teacher recommendations for their child's courses for the next year, and will also be able to select courses for their child. In the Genesis portal, which is not active yet, it won't be active until February 8th, parents can click on scheduling, then requests. Any course that has been recommended for your child will feature an apple icon. That means it's a course that was recommended. Once you are in the scheduling and request screen, you can click on request a course, and a catalog of courses for that English. You would click on request a course, and all of the available English courses for freshmen would show up, and an apple icon would denote which one your child was recommended for. After you are finished making your course requests, you can click on submit, and then that will be reviewed by your child's middle school counselor. They may have questions, you may email back and forth or have a phone conference, but parents will be able to choose courses for their children through the Genesis Parent Portal starting February 8th. It will show the courses they were recommended for, and you will have the opportunity to select courses. Once parents press submit, they cannot go back and make changes. They would have to contact the middle school counselor if there needed to be a change to what they have selected as a course. Freshman electives were a subject that the counselors reviewed with your students on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All of the counselors from East and West met with the students from Carusi, Beck, and Rosa during the day and gave a virtual presentation. In that presentation on slides 10 and 11 are the list of courses of electives that are available to freshmen. It also denotes whether those electives are available at both East and West or just East. That presentation is being posted by your child's middle school guidance counselor. So we just finished those meetings today and should be posted by your child's guidance counselor at the middle school. And that would be slides 10 and 11 that review what electives are available for freshmen. And you can always ask if you don't know. The middle school counselors and the high school counselors work really well together, and we communicate well, and we'll always get an answer for you.
Thank you for that very thorough answer, Ms. Safici.
Dr. Mahan, pardon the interruption, please, just to keep us on target and for your planning purposes. The time is now 7:30.
Thank you, Dr. Birdie. Our next question is, will the 8th grade students get the opportunity to tour their high school prior to this summer? Dr. Morton, can I ask you to answer this question, please?
Yes, absolutely. So, things are heavily dependent in terms of live opportunities on the status of things. We do want our kids to be in the building. We do want an opportunity to be able to see and interact with them. But again, that's dependent on the status of things. With that being said, both schools, I believe, are planning virtual tours of their building. There'll be videos that'll be put together for High School West and High School East that will give students a semblance of the layout of the buildings and the key and important areas. So, but we're hoping that we'll have an opportunity to bring students in and let them tour the buildings in person.
Thank you, Dr. Morton. Our next question is going to come from an online participant, Karen Bell. Can you please tell us the school that your child attends?
Sure, Rosa. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So I just wanted to sort of follow up on the elective and all the courses question. It sounds like you have some sort of online booklet which you can access by pressing multiple tabs. So I'm just throwing this out here. What if you just sent an email booklet that people, like a document that people could actually look at? And I personally would really like that. But that's just my request.
So Ms. Bell, thank you for that. That is a well-received comment. A few years ago, our course of study booklet was actually a hard copy booklet that was sent home to all families. We transitioned from that to be more efficient. The entire course of study booklet is located on our district website. It is chunked into certain areas. So instead of having to flip through the entire book, if you click on English, only the English opportunities come up on the screen. If you click on mathematics.
So Miss Manhattan, I understood all of that from the other people who spoke, and I really appreciate you reiterating that to me. But my request was just a simple, can you send a Word doc? So it's okay if you don't do it, but it's just a request. Okay, I understand how you have it broken up. I paid attention. I appreciate your time, and that's why I listened to everybody else who spoke. But yeah, that's it. So if you can send it as a doc, great. If you can't,
I apologize, Ms. Bell. I was mute happy. I heard the rest of your comment. I can absolutely send it as a Word document to you. I will send it as a Google Doc. I can download that. I'll work with Mr. Guy to make sure that you receive that information. And I will also send home a paper copy to you as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Our next question, similar to the question regarding how the process will look for students with IEPs, we have a question from Charlene Malatino. The question is, I want to know if my child has an IEP, how do we go about picking classes? Not sure how we would complete the selection process. So we did start to hear some of this response from Mr. Wisely, but I'm going to ask Ms. Shabilia, guidance counselor at Carusi Middle School, to give us perspective on the process that students go through at the middle school level. And then Mr. Wisely, if you would like to chime in with any additional information.
Thank you, Dr. Mahan. We do want to include all of our students in the process. We know that it's an exciting time for them as well as for parents. At Carusi specifically, and I'm sure that in other schools, we have done several classroom visits already. As you said, all the counselors from the high school have been to visit our 8th graders across the district. Students will probably, for the first time for many of our special ed students, they will be included in the annual reviews so that they can hear the options, hear recommendations that teachers are making, get the input and help to make those very important decisions for themselves and their parents at that time. In Carusi specifically, we will visit our classrooms again to talk to the kids every level. All students, all special ed students will be involved in hearing specifically about the process so that they will be fully informed. So that's all of our students across the board.
Thank you, Ms. Shabilia. Mr. Wisely, would you like to add anything additional?
Sure. So like Ms. Shabilia said, it's really important that we have an inclusive process so that everyone is included within the course selection activity. Part of that process and where course selection comes in for our special education students really focuses in on those electives and identifying what their choices are for that. So they still will have that opportunity to be able to go in and select their electives. And like I said earlier, when we're talking about the special ed programming side of it, that those decisions will be made with the IEP team in the spring and in the winter.
Thank you, Mr. Wisely and Ms. Shabilia. We do not have any more submitted questions, and I do not see any hands raised, but I would like to give parents an opportunity as well as students if a question does come to mind. So during that wait time, Mr. Burrell, would you like to offer some information regarding the robust athletic programs that we have at our comprehensive high schools?
Good evening, everybody. With the virtual open houses that we're going to be offering at each of the high schools, we are going to have a Google form to sign up for each of the students. So if you're interested in a sport or a club or activity, you'll be able to sign up through those virtual forms. And then at that time, all the coaches will be able to come back and contact you with information regarding signups.
Thank you, Mr. Burrell. And we do have some questions coming in. I'm going to ask Linda Fell Peterson.
Hi. Yeah, my question is, if your student goes to Rosa, they do not have a home high school, correct?
Mrs. Minjin, could you please chime in for a response to this question? Thank you for your question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. That is correct. They would automatically be, if you do not respond, they'll automatically be assigned to East, but they do not have a home school. That is correct. They'll default to East. So Rosa parents should go in and make sure that their school is selected of where they want their child to attend. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Our next question is from Donna Campbell.
Hi, I was wondering what grade level are we freshmen allowed to shadow a student?
So I would ask that Mr. Figueroa, can you answer that for us?
Sure, thank you, Dr. Mahan. The question is, what level could a freshman shadow, or an 8th grader, are they able to shadow a freshman student? Just to clarify.
Donna, would you like to clarify?
An 8th grader.
Oh, okay, so yeah, an 8th grader, what we have right now set up is at East, you can contact Danielle Grafeo, and you can email her, Mrs. Grafeo, in the grade level office, and she'll set up the shadow days for you. But as an 8th grader, usually it can be voluntary. So you'll have upperclassmen, it could be 9th grade, could be 10th, could be 11th or 12th.
Donna, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Our next question comes to us from Trisha. Trisha, could you please tell us your last name and the school that your child attends?
Hi, I'm sorry. My last name is Fair, and my student goes to Carusi. I have a question from me, and I have a question from my student. My question is, in reading the course of study, it seems like the choices of electives can be pretty tough to get your first choice. And I was just wondering, there's some of the electives that there's not really anything else similar. So if you don't get your first choice, the next semester, are you kind of like put on the wait list for that one, or how does that work?
And what is your child's question?
The child's question is, will there be an esports team, either as a sports team or as a club activity at either of the schools?
Okay, we will start with the first question. Mrs. Friedman, I'm going to ask that you respond to that question. Mrs. Friedman is a guidance counselor at Cherry Hill High School East.
Hello, thanks for your question. So we always do try to give students their first choice of electives. We get a list of students who have conflicts in their schedule, and we individually, the counselors, go through each one and see what the problem was. We always see if somehow that first choice elective can fit in. Sometimes the computer just can't work it out, and we can, and we put it in. Yes, if it's a semester problem, sometimes we can flip a few things around and make it work the other semester. If it's just a case that it's a full course and there's no room in it, or it's just not going to work in their schedule no matter what we do, then we will go to their second choice of electives. So we did say this to the middle school students and emphasized it when we were talking to them over the past 3 days, that please give us a second, third, and fourth choice of electives, because we want to make sure if you don't get that first choice elective, that we are going right down your list and at least giving you your second choice or third choice, but something else that you're going to be happy with. So we did emphasize, please look at the electives, take into consideration that you could end up in your backup elective. So don't just scribble something down that you would never want to take. Really put some thought into your backup electives as well. But we do put a lot of effort into trying to put students into their first choices.
Thank you, Mrs. Friedman, for that thoughtful answer. Mr. Burrell, I'm going to go to you for the question regarding esports, as I know this has been a topic of conversation.
Yes. Currently, we have an esports club at High School East that had just started up. And I know we had talked about possibly doing this, just a small club at West here this spring. We are hopeful that starting in the fall that we are going to have esports teams. We're still working out all the details to see if that's going to be feasible for us. We're hoping to have that in the very near future. And it would actually be in the fall and the spring. So probably around April, end of April, early May is we'll have a final determination on whether or not we'll be able to bring those teams to both high schools.
Thank you, Mr. Burrell, for your response.
Dr. Mahan, just a quick time check. It is nearly 7:45.
Thank you, Dr. Birdie. Trisha, I just wanted to come back and say thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you for your answers. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Our next question comes to us from Lisa Batzer. Lisa, if you could just tell us your...
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to ask questions. My student is at Rosa, and my question is about enrollment in arts such as band and orchestra. Could you talk briefly how that works? My understanding is then he enrolls in that as a class period, and that's for credit, and he gets an academic grade for that. Could you just talk a little bit more about how that works?
Yes, thank you for your question. I'm going to ask Mrs. Brittany Lamb, guidance counselor at Cherry Hill High School West, to respond to this question.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Mahan. So yes, they do. It is a course that can be in the student's schedule, and they do receive a grade for it. There is some after school or during lunch activities, so they might have to do like band practice, or if they're in a certain chorus group, like for MATA, for example, they'll have to, they have certain practices during lunch breaks. But yes, it is a course that's in their schedule. They also have like after school concerts. So yes, it will be a course that's enrolled in their schedule. They do receive a grade for it, and they will receive credits for it as well.
Thank you very much, Lamb, for your response. Ms. Batzer, thank you for your question. Do you have a follow-up?
No, thank you very much for the clarification.
Thank you. Our next question comes to us from Leslie. Leslie, if you could please tell us your last name and the school in which your child attends.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you. Yes, my last name is Patton, and my child attends Rosa. I actually have two questions. One is, once our child or my child chooses his classes, and then in the first few weeks it's decided or it's not that subject particular course is not the right fit for him, how easy is it to transfer to a different course or in that field? And then my second question is, how are the guidance counselors assigned to each student?
Okay, thank you for that question or those questions. The first question I'm going to ask Mrs. Safici, again, high school counselor at West, to answer the once a child chooses a class and it's not a right fit, how hard or easy is it for the child to transfer to a different course?
Okay, yes. So you are making selections for your child, now in the winter, in February, and there is a chance that when they actually start taking those courses, that it is not the right fit for the particular student. The policy in the course selection guide is that students have the first 2 cycles. The high school runs off of a 6-day cycle. So students will have the first 2 cycles where they can request a possible change, in their courses. However, I do need to caution you that requesting the change doesn't always mean that the change will be feasible or will work in the student's schedule. You may request a change to move from an honors class to an accelerated class, which can be granted, but it may cause other things in the schedule to change as well. So we really, really encourage parents and students to put a lot of time and consideration into the course selection process now by evaluating that course selection book, looking at their teacher recommendations, speaking with their teachers, and speaking with their guidance counselor before they choose courses. Students do have the opportunity, if they need to, change courses during those first 2 cycles, but changing a class can sometimes lead to other courses changing, which may not be something that's desirable, for your child. If, as time goes on, your child is not doing well in a class, after the first marking period, they may have the opportunity again to change levels. The first marking period is typically over the second week in November. And then after that, they pretty much have to stick to whatever courses they have, at that point. You do have the option to change classes, but sometimes it is not easy and can cause, other conflicts in your schedule. So it is really important and critical that parents and students put some time and effort now into evaluating the recommendations and the offerings at both high schools.
Thank you, Ms. Safici. And the second question is, how are the guidance counselors assigned? Mr. Zagrafis, would you like to answer that question for Cherry Hill High School East?
Sure, thank you so much. Just congratulations, everyone. High school is an exciting time. Congratulations to the future class of 2025. The way the students are assigned to counselors is pretty much alphabetical. So what's going to happen is based on the alphabetical breakdown, each counselor will have students from 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. So you will have the same counselor to help guide you through your high school years, through scheduling, academics, and then eventually the college process as well. So each counselor has all 4 grade levels, and the way it's decided which student gets to which counselor, they all have specific letters of the alphabet they're assigned to. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Mr. Zagrafos. Ms. Patton, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you. We have an online question. Oh, I thought we had another question there. So again, I'll wait a few seconds to see if we have any additional questions. I would just like to thank all of our panelists for coming on this evening. Just so that our attendees are aware, we have guidance counselors from Cherry Hill High School East and Cherry Hill High School West. We have the principals of our 3 middle schools, Carusi, Rosa, and Beck. We have the principal of the 2 high schools. We also have the assistant principals who are assigned to the incoming class of 2025 at the high schools. And we also have the assistant principals from the middle schools who are currently assigned to the 8th grade class to really help to smooth out this transition going into high school. We also have our Director of Athletics, our Supervisor of Pupil Services, and the curriculum supervisors to support, again, this partnership and the transition for the students, as Mr. Z just reminded us, the students of the class of 2025 as they enter high school. I see another hand. Oh, I do not see a hand raised. So with that, I would like to thank. I'm going to go to one last question. We have a hand raised from Lauren Whopper.
Yeah, real quick, I can't remember, when did you say the course book would be available to look at online?
It will be available at the end of January.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's it. Thank you
you're
so
welcome.
much for the presentation.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, I would like to thank all of our attendees for taking time out this evening to share your areas of expertise with our future class of 2025 and their families. We look forward to seeing you at our comprehensive high schools in September. Have a wonderful evening.